Come with us now, if you dare, down a rickety staircase into a dank, dark basement. What awaits? The Saturday Night Freak Show.
Welcome, ladies and germs, to the Saturday Night Freak Show podcast, the finest podcast on the internet. And magically, every Saturday night, a new episode appears on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and our website, which is SaturdayNightFreakShow.blogspot.com. You can find all of our past episodes there or on the aforementioned repositories. Every Saturday night, we watch a movie, and then we sit around and talk about it for your listening pleasure. The Internet Radio Superstars lineup consists of
Sean,
Travis,
guest appearance by Nick,
and I'm Colin. We are the Saturday Night
Saturday
Freak
night
Show.
where we're supposed to put our hands on our hips and say, the Saturday Night Freak Show.
Dun, dun, dun.
Our capes were flowing in the wind.
I was thinking Three Amigos. Do a fucking pelvic thrust at the end of there. What do we watch?
Well, tonight it was my pick, so we watched a movie from 1973 called The Legend of Hell House. Not to be confused with The Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
It's The Legend of Hell
I
House.
don't think I've seen that.
Which?
What?
The Haunting of Hill House.
Were there two?
Well,
There was
The
the old one
Haunting?
and the remake. Vince.
Well, that's the
House on the Hill.
House on
House on
That's
Haunted
House
Hill.
on the Hill. Oh, there's another one.
What's the Haunting of Hill House?
Yeah.
It's The Haunting. So, you
Oh.
know,
Oh, yeah?
The new one with fucking Owen Wilson and all that.
well, the
That was
original one
remake.
was 63, so it predated this one. So there was a story, it was called The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. She did The Lottery, which you probably had to read in middle school or something.
Sounds familiar.
I did
No.
not have to read it.
You didn't? It's
Didn't
a
have
pretty
to
good
read it.
story. There's like a town where you draw a lottery, everybody goes out, and then they end up stoning the person who wins.
Oh,
So
okay,
they have
yeah.
like good
Okay,
crops.
That's not winning.
And she wrote what Stephen King says is the finest haunted house story of all time, which they made into a movie called The Haunting in 1963. And it was ironically about four people who go to investigate a haunted house. I want to say it was probably the first one of that.
It had
type
the
of-
leader of the Jets in it. When you're a jet to the
Oh,
end
is that
from your
Russ
first
Tamblyn?
cigarette to your last dying day.
Yeah, he was in
Yeah,
Twin
he
Peaks.
was
He
in-
was Dr. Oh, God, I can't remember. He had the funny colored
I
glasses.
thought it was his name. Doctor, oh God, I can't remember.
Doctor. I can't remember.
And in 1973, so now I'm not sure when this book was written,
Hell House.
but it was called Hell House. And this is by Richard Matheson, the guy who wrote it. He also wrote the screenplay here.
Indeed.
But I want to say, I mean,
You see that name a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he had to be like the guy who brought horror into like the modern day, right? I mean, because Edgar Allan Poe kind of wrote stuff like, I mean, there were still gothics or kind of the romantic thing. He had he was looking backwards into the French, not mythology, but you know what I mean? That kind of I don't know if his stuff was contemporary. H.P. Lovecraft did the science fiction thing, but Richard Matheson wrote I Am Legend, I think maybe is what he was most famous for. Duel, Stir of Echoes, What Dreams May Come,
Oh.
The Incredible Shrinking Man, many episodes of The Twilight Zone, all the AIP, the Edgar Allan Poe movies.
All the Vincent Price, Corman produced.
Yeah. He wrote The Night Stalker.
Oh yeah,
which
Kolchak.
became yeah. So, I mean, the guy was a titan, I
Right,
think
yeah.
He died
Indeed.
6 years ago at the ripe old age of 87 or something like that. So his version here, his novel Hell House, was kind of an homage, I think, to The Haunting of Hill
Right.
House,
Yeah.
except it's like the pulpier version of it. Nothing happens really in The Haunting. The whole thing is suggestive, Is there actually ghosts? Is anything actually happening, or is it just these people kind of, going crazy?
Well, you do get awesome camera angles and sound design.
Oh, yeah.
That's what The Haunting has. That's why it's a classic. There's only a handful of what I would call classic haunted house movies.
What
The
else?
Haunting.
What do you got for classic haunted house movie?
The Haunting is numero uno. Numero uno.
Where's The Shining? on that?
Not Poltergeist?
I'd put Poltergeist there. I mean, I don't know if
Yeah.
I'd go top
I mean,
five.
I would
top
definitely
10,
put
but
Poltergeist. I mean, I would because it's a genre I really don't tend to like a lot of. A lot of ghost movies leave me really cold.
Agreed.
Because I've seen a lot of top 10, lists, and Poltergeist seems to hang around, ones and twos.
Well, what do you think? If you're going to go top 5 haunted house movies of all time.
Yeah, Poltergeist.
Poltergeist would be my number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I would almost put Paranormal Activity because that's more of. But I really don't consider it a haunted house because it's more demonic.
Like a ghost story.
Yeah, it's demonic.
What about-
But in the
like-
first movie by itself, it would just be.
Yeah, if you
It's not really demonic unless
yeah.
you count the other.
Yeah.
I loved House.
House?
Ding dong, you're dead. I mean, it's such a and I mean, in a way, I would also say Evil Dead. I mean, I would
That's
call that a
haunted
haunted house
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
I mean, I think Evil Dead would be my
I was
number
gonna
fucking two
say,
because it's
is
just
Evil Dead considered a haunted house movie?
I
think
think
so.
it would
Even
because this
the forest
movie
was.
almost has that same feel of somebody. You listen to that record when you get into the house. It has that same.
Yeah, because Evil Dead
Just
riffs on
a
all this
message.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Evil Dead is like 4 movies that I.
So
can
is The
listen to.
Shining? Is that
Shining's
considered a
pretty
haunted
high.
house
I would
movie?
think
Even though
it's got to be in the top 3, I would think, right? Of like best haunted house movies ever
Yeah.
made. The Shining. I mean, I'm partial to like The Changeling, but I don't think a lot of people.
I've
have
never
seen
seen
that,
it.
but
Yeah,
it's
I've always
seen
wanted
it.
to.
I think by the time you get to the because it's like the haunted house movie seems to be the extension of a genre that doesn't exist anymore. The haunted castle movie, right?
Mm.
Where you had
Well,
stately old Europe or Spain or whatever, and there's these old houses, and the history with them goes back, and the deeds that were done within them, still linger to this day, kind of thing.
Even back in the day in movies like this, it's
But they moved
basically
it to
a castle.
It's
still a
right,
castle.
right,
It's
yeah,
huge.
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
isn't the first
And then
the
Poltergeist
first
moves it to,
American
like,
horror
yeah, the
film
suburbs.
like the old dark house? That's where all these come from. Where three or 4 people arrive. They get stuck or something.
Right,
They
yeah.
go to the house. There's like that famous scene where, or was it called like the cat, and the canary? What? I want to say the old dark house was like maybe the second or third incarnation of. I want to say the original one was called like the cat and the canary. I could
Something
be
like
fucking
Yeah.
it could
totally
be right.
off.
I mean,
Yeah, I think you're.
Yeah, it's something like that. The Cat and the Canary, because there's like a scene where a bookcase, it was a silent film or something like that, right? Where like the bookcase opens and the hand comes out, and that's like the big scare. There was a really interesting Universal documentary on the Wolfman DVD that came out, like the Legacy Edition or whatever,
yeah.
that talked about like kind of going through whatever. And I remember them talking about this old dark house movie.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Because that Boris
That's
Karloff's
Boris
the
Karloff,
butler.
but I want to
But
say
I
it
don't
was
think
like the
there's
third one.
But there isn't like a ghost in that one, right?
No,
It's
but it's
about
just that
these
idea of
crazy
people
people.
going to but just that
Yeah.
idea of,
Yeah,
people
the
going to,
travelers arrive on a rainy night and are
Mhm.
Yeah.
seek
Yeah.
asylum in this, the
Your
castle or the
mhm.
house.
yeah,
and
your
then-
setting is one basically, well, not one interior, but you're not leaving that place, you're not
right.
going anywhere else. It's all the action has to take place inside here. And that's why I think most ghost movies fail, right? Is because there's nowhere to go. There's nothing, what are you going to do? Like, just like, oh, the plates are rearranged, or something like that. Just walk around and like, the toilet's spinning backwards or something. Or no, in Amityville, it fills with blood or black ink or some shit.
Didn't bring up Amityville for haunted house movies.
I love the fucking book. Amityville is one of my favorite books, but I don't like the movie.
Actually, maybe Amityville before Poltergeist is the one that kind of relocates the haunted house to like suburbia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Because
right. The
then
Cat and the
it's-
Canary. I'm sorry.
Then it's like the people, they're not investigators or travelers who stop off and come into this place or a visitor. They actually buy the house, and the house has a problem with it, and so then it becomes like this kind of like metaphor for not the American dream or whatever, but it's like you buy this thing and then it's built on this. In the Amityville, wasn't it
Yeah.
built on like an Indian burial ground?
No,
Tommy,
no. They all-
The
Tommy
remake was, right?
DeFeo.
Yeah.
I'm sure, right?
Yeah, but in
No,
like
Tommy
Amityville
DeFeo
2
killed
maybe or
his.
something, they put that in there. I can't
thing,
remember. There's the
Yeah.
well.
Oh, you get.
Yeah.
That's a.
Uh,
move the headstones, but you never move the bodies.
Another good haunted house movie that I really like is The Conjuring, and I love the Warrens. The Ed and Lorraine, their stories are or tops.
And they're like the modern equivalent of this, I suppose, right? I mean, after we've had like a couple generations of, I moved my family into this house, and then the whole thing goes to shit because there's ghosts inside it. The Conjuring kind of brings back we're going to go investigate a haunted house. I mean, it's the old,
I'm sorry. I feel like I was just sitting at a bar with a guy. It's just like we moved into this house and the whole thing went to shit because there was a ghost inside of it. I mean, I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I go back.
Back up one.
The ghost. The ghost.
Well, that's why like the Amityville horror.
Yeah, my family's dead. Yeah.
That's why the Amityville horror works the way that it does, right? Is because the ghosts are like they're causing black shit to come out of the toilet.
Flies on the windows. I love the flies, dude.
It's like, the characters have to like, I guess you relate to the characters if like you've ever bought a house and you're seeing like all this shit go bad. It's like, how much money are they going to have to replace all this stuff? And that's how it works on their finances.
Yeah, if that's not like a metaphor, I wonder
that's what's horrifying nowadays. Finances. It's going to cost forever.
Yeah,
fucking flies. We can't keep the flies out of the goddamn attic.
I know. And then they come down. They got to plunge the fucking bathroom.
The father's downstairs constantly putting logs on the fire. He can't get warm, and it's just like, it's like, what are you talking about? I'm hot. It's cold, so cold.
I love how it's always we can't leave the house. Well, why can't you leave the house?
Money.
We have too much money invested.
Yeah.
Get your ass out of the house if you're seeing your wife get cut up.
Right,
and,
yeah.
Or like in The Shining and Amityville, like I think it's more the metaphor for like the angry dad or the stepdad that starts like getting frustrated and taking it out on his family, just moving to this new place, investing into this thing, and and he starts fucking like beating people and taking axes out, and
Yeah, it's how they Americanized, I guess, the ghost story, right? I mean, that's how you brought it down to like
what's the American
more accessible
dream?
To
have
own
a
your
family,
own house,
buy a house, move
the nuclear family,
And they started on that kind of those core values, and that's that's how you got to like the main audiences back then. It's like, what's scary to them?
Yeah,
buy a house and it's fucking haunted.
Yeah. So this kind of goes back to, I mean, again, it's drawing off of the Haunting of Hill House, the idea that there is a place on this earth where, in this case, the Mount Everest of haunted houses, the Belasco house, but it's a location where evil dwells, right? It's the bad place.
Everyone knows about it.
Right. And so we want to go and investigate it.
Some old man.
Old man's like
Deutsch Industries. Right.
Yeah, he just bought the property.
Deutsch.
Well, I mean, go there and
Deutsch. I'm sorry.
What does he call it? It's not ghosts. It's never ghosts. It's surviving something.
Well, this guy, we get
Can
the
you
impression
survive
that
after
he's an
death
old
or
guy
Yeah.
and he's about to die.
Right.
It's like,
So
I
of
want to
course,
know, is it possible?
Yeah.
No.
Can you survive after death? And he enlists a physicist to go and get him an answer within a week. And we're going to send you to the
You have 1 week.
hell house to prove
that's enough
it.
time.
I expect an answer. Within a week.
Yeah.
Should have proof, right? Jesus. Fucking scientists.
Fuck's
What's
taking
taking you
so
so
long?
long?
I
Yeah.
only have 8
Where's
days
heaven?
to live. I need the answer by day 7.
Am I going? I want to see the list.
That actually reminds me of a scene you'll have to remind me about when we get to the end of the movie. But there was a scene in the book that's not in the movie that I think kind of changes. I think it would have added an extra dynamic to that. But
It's actually like I love I don't know. I was telling these guys as it started that like, man, this is probably like my 3rd or 4th time trying to watch this movie because I'm like, oh, dude, the beginning is fucking dry. It's a really dry.
just the setup with the old guy.
The setup with the old guy picking Roddy McDowall from the station because it's a very fucking boring scene where Roddy McDowall's just like, obviously
They pick everyone up.
he steps into the fucking scene and you can see by like his worried look on his face that he's the odd duck or whatever. And then we go in. Yeah, he survived
20 years
20 years ago when he was 15 years old. I was like, the fuck? Well, they grew up fast back then.
Right.
And well, okay, so like I said, he walks in the scene. Oh, he's got a weird look on his face. He's the odd duck. We go into the car of the doctor or the scientist that's gonna pick him up. Then they pull up. He walks up and it just cuts. It's like, what the fuck? Like, that scene meant nothing. I mean, that's the only part that's like, holy fuck, what the hell? Like, who shot? Like, I don't know. I got a little I don't know, just the opening to me is a little just like, because I mean it goes right into it. You don't have I kind of like when you get to that scene where all the characters step up and they're like, look at the house.
Yeah.
And then like, my word. And then you get the fucking
We're not even inside yet.
yeah, just
It's really cool. It's all foggy. There's big fucking mansion. And they shoot
windows
it from
are
these
bricked up.
really weird angles where you're super close to the ground looking up, so the house
Yes.
is gigantic and everybody's
classic
fisheye.
yellow kind of like
Foggy.
yellow font.
Sun never goes down.
With no like outline. I love fonts with no outline. I love the 70s. You don't need outlines for fonts. Just white or yellow. Just put them up there. Fuck it.
Well, it establishes like a decent mood. I mean, and I think that initial scene, the dialogue's really snappy between the old guy Deutsch and the doctor whose name I can't remember. Lionel, right? Lionel Barrett. Is that right?
Yes,
Barrett?
Lionel
I don't
Barrett.
know.
It's Barrett.
Well, it's the
Barrett?
Barrett resonator, the Barrett reverser,
Lionel?
or whatever. I think.
Scientist, that's what I'm calling him.
But that's like it's a pretty decent hook that they
Scientist
are
wife.
able to work into. I don't know, like 3 minutes of running time, and then it's like pretty much there's the two small sequences where they pick up what's his name, Fisher. So he's the Roddy McDowall. He's the survivor, and he is a physical medium.
Mhm.
And then they pick up. I say they because it's Barrett and his wife, and they pick up what's her name, Florence.
Yes.
And she
Florence
is
Tanner.
a mental medium.
She is.
And the next scene is like they're at the house. So within like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
it's like we're doing a haunted house movie. We've got the setup. Why we're there? Boom,
In the house.
haunted house.
So the difference between a mental medium and a physical medium, he what? He can make
You can physically move
physically
things.
alter things like at will, or just when he's having contact with something
I took it,
otherworldly.
not that he's telekinetic or anything. I just took it
No.
that he gets vibes off of physical things, or
Well,
I thought it was
the
like
thing
the
is that he
spirits
shattered
could
that
use-
glass with the,
Right.
when he was in his mental state, because I always thought physical mediums were, let's say you have a pop bottle from your grandfather or
Right.
something, they could
You
touch
touch
that
it.
and
Right.
then they could get the history from that.
And they
Or like
use-
Colin was saying, like the mental medium, she can kind of interpret through her own voice what the entity is feeling or anything, and he can.
no, but that was
physically?
new for her. That was not supposed to happen.
Well, the
That's-
talking, the physical.
But that was only because they're in Hell House.
Right,
She's
no.
not supposed to be able to do that. That's
No,
why
no.
she's like, I don't get
but
it.
that's something he should do. Like he should be talking
he
in
should.
voices.
That's why they
and-
thought it might have been him.
Right.
I don't know the.
I don't know. Yeah,
he
with
might have
his
thrown his
power.
voice and made her do it.
Yeah.
I don't.
Like if he's within reach of connecting with something, he
I'm a
can
scientist, not a
manifest
ventriloquist.
his abilities that way.
Right.
But he's
yeah.
got to be within contact of something.
But
to
I don't
do it.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah.
He makes an interesting character in that, like, he comes into it and, like, his entire first couple of lines of dialogue, it's like everybody else is
Do
making
you?
a statement. Yeah. Nothing like that's going to happen here. Well, really?
Really? You think so?
Yeah.
Sits at you with those big old
Do you?
bug-eye glasses.
Oh,
at you.
the
It's like-
70s.
yeah.
Yeah, why would you go
Really?
back? I don't get it.
We'll just see.
I'm
Yeah.
the only one that will make it out alive.
That's what I didn't get. And then Colin's like 100 pounds.
Yeah,
Make you go
100,000
back.
pounds or what? Yeah, I know, right. Why? What is your motivation for coming back to this place that almost killed you?
Killed you.
Yeah.
No way. No. If you escaped and you the house, the house killed people or paralyzed them. And
They
everything,
said there's been,
no way.
They said there's been like 2 other investigations, like 8 people died, and then it's like, fuck, I ain't going there. Jesus Christ.
I can shut myself off. I'll be fine.
Even if there's no ghost, there's something in the fucking water. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You're insane.
I've gone into supposed haunted houses before, for investigations, but I've never been to one. Like if someone's like, yeah, there was like 10 people, investigated this place and died, I'd be like, oh, I'm out.
Did you ever have a sexy lady attack you?
No, I have never had a
that
sexual
ever-
lady
or,
attack.
or it'd be a career, not
if that's
just
something that happens, right. If that's something that happens every time, I might start looking into this.
I get it.
Oh well.
So
I see
when-
why people like this.
Help wanted, female investigator.
Yes, you should be my assistant. It would be glorious.
Too many no dudes. If you get possessed, I want to make sure we have normal sex, not just dude no sex. So, I don't know. It's so weird. Some of this film, I think, can be a little boring to look at, but then some parts of this film are like fucking like beautiful to look at. It's really crazy. It's a weird mix.
Yeah.
Like I like that.
Like they save it for special something happening in the movie in order to get that.
Yeah, I was trying to determine. I'm like, there were parts of it where I'm like, oh, that's like a really well directed moment. You know, like the way he moves the camera around. And then there's sometimes maybe it's just the 70s. I don't know. There was that time when Lionel, the professor, was like reading something, and the camera did these series of zooms. It was like he would say a line, zoom. He'd say another line, zoom.
What was when the meter reading
was?
He was supposed to have already excised the house,
and the meters are going nuts. It's like,
no, my word.
I like the shot where the coffee pot was on the table,
Corky.
and it had the reflection of the doorway. Had the girl walk through the doorway while he's sitting at the table, and he lifts the pot up.
Yeah.
I like that
some
shot.
of it's like
really well done.
clever.
Oh, it's very clever.
And
Well, I
some
like
of it's
how
kinda...
in the beginning when he's talking to when the scientist is talking to Deutsch. I mean, they're clearly kind of Deutsch is in a wheelchair, and he's standing at least like a kind of a foot or two away from him.
you think?
But then they do that, like, I mean, they just superimpose their faces
the
together as
profile
if they're, because it's like just the intensity of the conversation, like you're going to find a ghost, be like, I don't believe in it.
I want to talk to people like
3
6
inches
inches
away
from their face. Just like, well,
it's a nice shot. I mean, it's dramatic.
I
but
don't
it's
want
like,
to go
it's
to lunch
dramatic.
today.
Wasn't he like across the room a minute ago?
Well, what's funny is when they do that later, but then the scientist actually walks away from Roddy McDowall. It's like, holy fuck, they weren't like right in each other. That wasn't just the artistic, like,
No, they were there.
It was.
I couldn't
but
tell though if one face was a little bit farther.
Right, if
out
they were
from the
staggering
other
the
one.
distance from the camera, because you can cheat it and still have them look close, but be a little bit farther away.
Because I
But
like how the
they were
old man
close.
was even like looking up.
Yes.
You know,
And they
he's
was
still
Dutch-
sitting in his chair.
The angle was a little Dutch, and they kind of lined it up to be, him going down on. Came out.
That's what she said.
We're going there.
Him looking down upon the older man.
Right.
But I like the idea of this, the mythology of this movie, the house where like the dude was like just the most fucking like satanic guy in the world that did
what do we
everything
get?
from like orgies to bestiality.
I'm
Drug
telling you,
to-
addiction, cannibalism.
That was the best. I think that was the best line of the whole movie, where he just starts rattling off
Bestiality.
bestiality, vampirism,
Sodomy.
and midgets. It was weird.
Weird toe stuff,
He's
feet
like
guy.
the cartoon version of like Aleister Crowley or something
Yeah.
like that, right?
Oh no, I bet Aleister Crowley
English
really did all that
Hellraiser.
shit.
Oh no, yeah, I bet he did.
Yeah.
Well, from what I was reading a little bit about the movie, is that this was loosely based on Crowley.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
as something for a
Yeah.
backstory. It's
If
like,
you
this is
don't-
the most evil man in England.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he
They
was
call him
at
the
time.
most evil man in the world. I think they call or the Beast or some shit. But Aleister Crowley is the guy that wrote. God damn, what's the name of the book? It's
It was before the Church of Satan, so it's not the
yeah,
satanic verses.
it's like the
Or
original.
Satanic
He was like
Bible.
the original dude that like talked to some demon and
Yeah,
got
It was
information, and he created this saying that "Do as thou wilt, let that be the only law."
yeah, and he had so basically he could have crazy amounts of orgies.
Sure.
Well, that
And like
guy
he was able to attract
Dude,
women or other people.
It seems to be the
no,
baseline.
fucking
Like,
presidents,
orgies
dude.
of
That's why it's like
hedonism.
I do not take Satanism lightly. Presidents talk to Aleister Crowley. I mean, Satanism goes a long motherfucking way, dude. And but I like that idea, right? That everything happened in this fucking house, so evil just like permeates, right? It's almost like they don't mention this, but I thought of it as almost like there's a permanent gateway to hell here. It would have been cooler.
Well, there was a story or a
It's a
movie
build-up.
at one point. I didn't actually see it, but I read enough about it to get what it was. But it was called The Stone Tape. And I always thought that its idea of like it applies to this. But the idea that any kind of events that are taking place, like, just us sitting here talking, is giving off, there's energy
energy.
waves coming off,
And
absorbed by the walls.
the walls of your
stone.
basement.
Yeah.
They say like marble conducts a lot of energy. Wood. And what happens is later on, let's say you're walking down your hallway and you see somebody, out of the corner of your eye, you see somebody, down your hallway. Well, who's to say that's not like a movie reel of that person
Like
walking down
somehow
your
the
hallway
area
20
is
years ago.
playing it back.
Yeah,
Right.
That's
There's been
kinda what-
enough energy moving through that area where it kind of just that remnants of it is just kind of playing over and
the
over. I get that because
residual
I've seen
haunting
that
is
before.
what
Yeah,
they,
and like
they tap it
the
as.
brain is actually like the needle on the record, right?
Yeah.
It's the one that's actually on the tape deck.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of what they're going
Or
for here. Or
yeah.
at least this
or
is
at least
one of
your
the
eyes, right, or something
Yeah.
like that. Something about the energy.
It's like a persistence of vision, but with nothing that caused it to begin.
And they
It's
say
weird.
if something, dramatic, like you were stabbed or shot, and died in that spot,
the energy.
that the
stronger or
energy was
something like
way
that.
stronger and it's going to absorb more.
Right, because
than-
it feels like it's in a moment of stress where you're expelling more energy at that point.
Mhm.
Like if something like that's going to happen to you, so
Or
it
can
leaves
make-
a mark.
Or
Like-
it can make a pink river of slime underneath New York City.
Now I like
Going
that story.
directly to the.
It's a
Well,
river
yeah,
of slime.
Yeah. You gotta get some Jackie Wilson in there to. That's what Legend of Hell House needed. I said your love
and they all just kind of look around.
Yeah. Well, things do get going pretty quickly in the movie. I want to say they have plates and stuff shuttling or shaking on tables.
shaking, moving slightly.
Then you had the poltergeist activity at the.
Yeah, I guess that's how
breakfast table.
it and
Well, they're like right-
Florence becomes like the magnet, I guess.
Yeah,
for
they
this
go
kind of
right to the
stuff.
reading at first, right? And she
Yeah.
automatically channels like the dude's son, right?
Yeah, who she imagines there's the son of Belasco still haunting the house.
There's another scene that was like, it's like as soon as they turned the lights off, this movie got beautiful. It's so fucking weird, right?
It's
Like,
got all that like reflected, the
well, they just did-
firelight or
oh my
smoke or
god,
something
like,
that.
right by her face, and then the close-ups of
Oh,
her
yeah.
lips,
Mhm.
and the
Oh yeah,
whole
when they cut
like,
to that shot of her eyes just being illuminated
Oh,
by
dude.
whatever, it's just like, oh,
fucking beautiful, right? And then of course she gets ghost voice, the like, get out, you bastards,
Yeah.
that was great.
Yeah,
I
and
do
she
like that.
as the magnet of this activity, she starts seeing because really she's the only one who sees or makes
Yeah.
contact with a quote unquote ghost.
Yeah, it's so weird that
Hmm.
Roddy McDowall doesn't have at least a scene where he's feeling it again. It's just like old hat. Like, I'm not going to mention it. I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
You know,
He's just- I
Well, he's
guess-
closed off.
Yeah,
He's
he
closed
closed
up.
himself up.
He's like, I'm not dealing with
Oh,
this.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. He's not. But,
He's
but
like, I'm
I
gonna
thought
get my
you're
money,
not
I'm out.
supposed. But I thought she made the point that you can't control it, right? Like you're not supposed to
Yeah.
be able to control. That makes your fate.
Yeah, but he probably survived that house and then
He's
Right,
got
he
20
knows
yeah,
what it
he
feels
toned
like.
his skills over the 20 years.
I've been
Yes.
hanging out with sodomizers for the past 20 years. I totally can like.
I know how to shut
control
this
it.
down.
I won't sodomize a cat again. No, not like 20 years ago.
Yeah. And well, eventually,
Yeah.
she's the one who's getting mauled by ghost, cat.
Oh, she got mauled by a
She gets
ghost dog.
scratches.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, to eventually
She got
like
sexed.
yeah. So what happens in that
It feels
scene?
like to death.
Well, it's the 7 or yeah, you said 73.
yeah.
So
So you're gonna be like, it's the
there's
70s.
not
People had
find
sex
me a
with
movie
ghosts.
in the early 70s that doesn't involve rape. I mean, we can finally talk about it, like in movies, right? So everything's about like to be invaded, man, to be penetrated against your will. We have to show
Whoa,
this
whoa.
on the screen.
It
This is
wasn't
happening.
It wasn't against her will, though.
Oh, she let
No,
it.
She let it
She
happen.
was tricked into the reasoning why,
Yeah,
but it wasn't
right.
against her will.
Somehow the ghost said he wanted to love.
This is
these,
how I can move on.
Yeah, I can move on if I can have physical love with
Because
somebody.
he could get energy from her by having sex with her.
Yeah, she falls for this.
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
use
that's
this
the
line.
line,
I'm
right?
gonna
Yeah.
use this line on my wife. Like, I'm a ghost. I can only move on if we have sex.
That's how
I see
Roddy.
Sean walking in with the
That's
with
how
the,
Roddy
like a
knew.
sheet on her
Exactly, with holes cut
with the
out.
holes cut out.
It's not even Halloween. Take that off. Ugh, not again.
That's how Roddy knew he'd survive.
All right,
this
go get
one.
the
That's
sheet.
how he survived last time.
I'm gonna write that down.
Not having sex with a ghost.
No, that's how Roddy survived last time. is you have to give into the love.
Yeah. So she gets raped by a ghost.
Don't forget the spirits that come from her fingers. That was kind of a little like.
Oh yeah, the ectoplasm.
Oh, what?
They do. That's the first sitting, right?
That's the second one.
The
Yeah,
second one.
second
Yeah,
one.
second one under his scientific observation.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Right there, to me, he would like
Yep.
completely fucking go against the science.
Exactly.
It's like, well, who made the fucking like ghost come out of her fingertips?
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
wasn't just
That's what I didn't
electromagnetic
I
like
got this,
negativity.
No.
Well, I'm not saying it has
got
any.
this.
Well, I can.
You can explain what he believes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He believes in ESP and psychic phenomena. He just
And
doesn't.
telekinesis,
Yeah,
apparently.
but he doesn't believe in actual spirits are hanging around. So I mean that he goes in with that idea like that's what's actually going on in this house.
Leave a sample in the jar, please.
And I have
Yeah, but-
a
Yeah, but
sample
don't
in
you
the job
have to have?
But what's the ectoplasm? Like they created from their mind, like the brood or something.
Well,
like
he explains that in the movie. Like it's a collection of, it's something physical that comes from her. It's a
Yeah, it's
collection
like
of a bunch
cells.
of stuff.
It's organic living material that
Yes.
comes from the
I'm
body
not
of
going
the
to tell you what
person.
it is.
Well, he said it's like a collection of. Well, he said
It's
food,
like dust. It's food. It's
skin cells,
yeah.
and her costume or whatever
Yeah,
clothing.
she
Like
was wearing a
all of
costume.
this makes it. And in the movie, it's like obviously something drawn on a piece of glass or whatever. But
right.
I mean, I've
Slowly
seen other
being,
movies.
like, revealed.
What was it? The American Haunting or no something? Connecticut Haunting in Connecticut, where it was like some kind of.
No, the stuff
you
came
watched
out of
that,
his mouth.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it was like
It was
some
like
kind of
a-
snot like
yeah.
material. I mean, you've seen it in Ghostbusters or whatever, but the idea of ectoplasm, it's some kind of
Ectoplasm.
physical, tangible manifestation of
He's
supernatural
slimes.
activity.
Actual
This is
physical
really great.
contact.
Yeah.
Can you move?
Or a manifestation of thought. That's what he said, right? It's
Right.
somehow
A
you're
physical-
making a thought, you're willing it into physical reality.
Supposedly in the conspiracy circles, that's what Atlantis actually was. That's why we can't find Atlantis. Is because the higher
it was a
society actually
collection of thought.
created. Yeah, their collective conscious created the city that they live
And then once
there.
they're gone,
Once you wipe it out,
collapses.
there's no fucking city because hey, there never was a fucking physical city. They just like sat there like
dreamed it up.
Yeah, who knows,
and
right?
the force field around it, right? Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, one of my only because I really love the environment of this movie. I was watching this movie thinking like, fuck, this is like the quintessential fucking like haunted house movie.
It's even got black cats running around.
Got black
Doors open
in
and
the
closed,
daylight
you know?
slash nighttime. We're not sure.
Yeah.
the constant daylight.
Yeah, the constant night for day, day for night.
It's 10 o'clock at night and the sun is shining through in the sky. 10:30 p.m.
Birds are chirping.
10:31. Always. Always.
But like, I kind of thought this movie, not that it was going to go more like
October
a
31st.
slasher movie. I just thought this ghost was going to like boom, 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 like.
Yeah, but you had
But
four
they really
characters.
waited. Yeah, exactly.
You had four,
Four
characters. You
characters.
can't just.
But I just thought they'd like give us some. Because like I mean, there's fuck tons of story in this, which isn't necessarily bad, but to me, by the end when we're actually like, because we have our fake out, right? You always have the fake out laid to rest. That's like the number one rule about a ghost movie. Is like you find a body, you're like, this is it.
Nope.
This is the body we have to
Nope.
lay to rest. You lay it to rest, and you're like, I don't understand.
And
They
what-
have like an early one of
This
those
shouldn't
like
be
halfway through the movie, right? They find the quote unquote
right?
Junior
Daniel.
Belasco
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
in
Daniel.
the cellar and they lay him to rest. They didn't play that. See, that's where I thought they didn't. The direction wasn't all that awesome because like the first time I saw it, I forgot that scene happened.
Well, because she's like, Florence is like I mean, it actually happened. They found the body, they buried it in the ground, they prayed, but then she is like dreaming it at the same time, or
Yeah.
they do this weird fade to her, like
Yeah,
sleeping and
And then
talking
she's
to
hearing-
Daniel again. Like,
right,
I don't
yeah, yeah.
understand.
No, we married you.
I'm explaining
Right,
a
so
lot
you-
in my sleep.
You're going through a house, right? And you find a dead body. Your first instinct is to take it outside and bury it.
This is England in 1973.
It's science, man.
Yeah,
We can't interrupt our proceedings.
Back off, man. I'm a
Yeah,
scientist.
back off, man.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
are a
there's-
poor scientist. And your theories. I'm sorry.
I forgot to mention too that this movie came out the same year as The Exorcist, but it opened first.
Yeah.
So this is before, like, so whatever was in the zeitgeist at the time. But it doesn't go with like actual. Okay, so before we get to who or what is actually happening here.
Whom what?
So there's this. The novel apparently is the biggest difference they say between the novel and the movie is that the novel is pretty obscene. Apparently,
Yeah?
there's
Oh.
a lot more talk about like what was actually going on with
Oh, nice.
Belasco, and
I'm
there's
reading.
like several more like rapes, and this going on with the people who are involved in the house. All we really see of this is, I mean, aside from the spectral rape of Florence, the wife,
it's not
Mrs.
rape.
Barrett.
She
well,
accepted. Yeah, I
That's
mean,
true.
It's a ghost sex.
it was just ghost sex.
Okay.
Spectral intercourse. That's the scientific term.
you ever seen
Spectral.
The Entity? That's a movie about
That's-
ghosts.
Yes, I have. Yeah, that's
I've heard
rape.
many things about this
That's a
movie.
rapey movie.
Yeah, that's a ghost rape movie.
It's that needs a remake. That would fucking. That's a Hollywood horror movie, not for nowadays, like a modern day. Ugh.
Yeah.
Whew.
Can't get away from the pursuer. He's in your house. Yeah.
A rape movie nowadays? No way.
But the wife, Mrs. Barrett, actually
Oh.
starts
Mrs.
like
Tapping into that sexual.
She,
energy.
She
Yeah.
taps in. All right.
I like that. That statue.
Oh yeah.
There's like-
the topless statue.
Yeah, there's like, no. There's
like
the
a satyr
statue
or
of the
something.
man
Oh, and the
and
man
the
and the woman?
girl like embracing, and she just sees from the candlelight. She sees the reflection or the
shadow, yeah.
shadow reflected onto the ceiling, and they start fucking. She's just like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh, this is hot. And she wants to wake up her son. She's like, get up, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Well, then she went to
It
the
does. It feels like
cabinet.
she's gonna be like, all right, I'll just do it myself.
She's like, I gotta go get a drink because this is too much. Well, she's
Yeah.
like, it was crazy.
getting the vapors.
I can't
I'm
believe
getting the
it
vapors.
happened.
Yeah, the
So
thing.
she goes to the cabinet for a drink, and all the books in the
Oh.
cabinet are like,
Autoerotic.
Yeah, how to.
yeah, it was like
Anally,
sex and
like-
sin and
How to fuck a
blah,
man in 10
blah,
days.
Yeah. And shortly after that, she
Well-
tries to seduce Roddy McDowall.
What was that book she picked up called? Autoerotic.
It was autoerotic something.
Yeah.
It was
Oh.
Transmissions.
Invasions of
Yeah.
transmissions.
Yeah,
or,
emanations.
yeah,
No.
yeah, it was.
Emanations,
Emanations.
yeah.
Autoerotic emanations.
Autoerotic
Yeah.
emanations.
Interesting rating. Gonna have to track this one down.
Yeah, yeah.
No, you
who's the
don't, because
author?
obviously you get more inside you than just what you're expecting. I guess.
That's right. There are characters later on in this movie running around. He's inside me. Yeah.
Well, but
Very distraught women.
It's a violation.
that's the one. That's exactly when I realized. I was like, "Holy fuck, this is kind of like The Haunting." Because was it The Haunting about the girl kind of being in love with the ghost, or vice versa? Right? The
It
girl,
was-
the very shut-in girl.
Yeah, Eleanor.
Yeah, she was kind of
She
swayed
had-
with the
She had the idea that she needed a place to belong, and I think that's what
Right.
Hill House plays on with her because she had been taking care of a shut-in relative, her mother, I think, who
something,
she-
right?
Yeah.
tended for, and then died. That person died, and so she was like living with
Go
her.
to the haunted house.
her
It'd be good
sister
for
or
you.
something like yeah. So it was an adventure for her. Let's go to the haunted house, and then the house made her feel welcome. I think
Yeah.
she became part of it.
But I just always found that like that's something that I don't think you do see a lot of, but I think is very, I don't know, dominant. I guess in what I think. I don't think necessarily what makes one of these stories good, but the how almost like the house falling in love with the girl or the girl falling in love with the house. Just the idea of being seduced by
Mm-hmm.
the ghost or whatever the hell. But a very sexy scene, man. Like I told these guys, like
Yeah,
if I was 12, dude, I'd have a
I
boner
heard Travis
right now.
unzipping his pants, and I got worried a little bit.
It was,
And this movie's rated PG, folks. It's
Oh,
a PG
but it's
movie.
nice.
But like you
It's
said,
nice
it meant a different, it
73,
meant something
yeah.
else back
Yeah.
then, apparently.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
people were made of sterner stuff.
Yeah.
fuck yeah, dude.
There's
They're
side-
dude,
yeah,
I
that
wanted
stronger
to see
fiber.
this.
Yeah,
But that-
shadowed side boob and nipple.
It was a great scene though when you see her like come down. I love it as soon as
hand
you
just-
see her. Yeah. I mean, as soon as you see her come down the stairs, just
That
the
was
way.
a sexy entrance.
Yeah. Oh, the fucking. It's like, oh shit.
Because
That
like the
lady
front of
is
the robe
possessed.
just kind of like
fucking
flowing.
look-
She's got the see-through nightgown.
Yeah, there's that nice like white light kind of blasted through it a little bit
Yes.
to like show
Oh,
a figure a little
She's
bit.
got sexy hair, which it hadn't been.
Oh my God.
Like that's how you know she was possessed. She had the hair got all
Ooh.
sexy and long.
But then she gets down. Roddy McDowall. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Like, he's just standing
Shut
around
off,
or
man.
something
Shut
like
up.
that.
He shut off to
He's drinking.
everything.
And she goes to
He
the
doesn't
bottom
even
of
have
the
his own
stairs.
room, right?
Yeah, he's sleeping. Yeah, he's just sleeping in
He
the
sleeps
like.
in the chair by the fire.
Why I say he's like ready for the door. That's what he's like, ghost.
Hey, he's
One
the
foot in the
door.
Yeah, he's Shaggy.
Like, let's get out of here, Scoob.
Zoinks.
Let's get out of here, buddy.
Like wow.
So so she comes to the bottom of the stairs, and there's that. She gets like behind that statue,
Straight from the nipple statue.
of like the bare-breasted whoever, and there's just that shot of. I mean, you don't really see that it's the breast, but her fucking hand like lurches onto it, and they like made sure she's like stressed out so you can see all the veins and shit. It's like, oh shit, you know, that's a nice like demony moment, you know, very like, I'm like, oh, that is not her. And then yeah, she gets exactly, I don't know why.
She caresses the statue's bosoms.
That's just a fucking frightening idea. I don't know if that's something I've actually had nightmares about that, right? Some like chick that's fucking totally hot, just like coming on to you in the worst way, but you're like, this bitch is evil. Like you're aware.
All right, now nightmares are fantasies.
Yeah, right?
I mean, let's
a nightmare.
Honesty.
Because like I said, you know that. Because as a man, what do, right? You
just go for the ride, man.
You're gonna
just
fuck
go
it.
for the
You
ride.
don't care. It could be a Venus flytrap down there. You're gonna be like,
Gotta do it.
Gotta do it.
she might like me enough that she won't do this to me.
Yeah.
Right, I could be the one who gets through to her.
Yeah, she likes me. I can tell.
She won't eat me.
She likes me.
She picked me.
And then she's like
dude.
praying mantises here.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna eat him.
That's scary to me. And it works. And even how I like how, like we were saying, it's PG, but I mean, they do it it's classy. It's sexy, but it's fucking classy. I like how
clavicle up.
she even drops her robe and you see the bare of
It's
her
all
back and
bareback.
kind of like, you see a
It is-
pretty low
it's
chest, but
I'm telling you, it's the
You
sweat
don't
itself.
don't
Oh, yeah.
see
There's
She's
sweat.
glistening with sweat.
There's sweat everywhere in
Dude,
this
is
movie.
it just me, or when they get possessed, do they yellow their teeth? Was that just me?
I think they're British.
They're
Yeah.
British.
I think
They
they're
have British
British.
teeth.
But it didn't seem like they had yellow teeth in the rest of the
They
movie.
are more
But as soon
obvious
as
in
they
those
got,
scenes, but I think that's just
think?
being British.
I
Yeah.
don't know,
I think
man.
they're
And she had-
baring their teeth more.
She had
in
fillings too, because when she
Maybe.
opened her mouth, you could see the fillings that are.
I just thought I noticed like a definitive. I mean, I'm sure, yeah, they were all smokers because, goddamn it, that's
That's right. It's
why everybody
1977.
lived so long
97
back
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
then. That's why they're so happy.
She's like, what was she saying during this? It's like they're caressing.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's
Well,
like
she had a fantasy of
Yeah, having
of
an
all
orgy.
4 of
Yeah.
them being naked,
And clutching.
yeah, biting,
Biting.
and he slaps her across the face because Roddy McDowall is made of some
None of
kind of
that.
stern
Yeah.
material that he can just.
Well, he's been through it before,
Yeah,
right? It's just
yeah.
like, God damn it.
God damn it, woman.
Yep, the woman's throwing herself at him.
But I would have done it.
So she may
Yeah,
have
right.
been sleepwalking.
Right. He
at this
picks, it,
point.
he picks it up. He's like, you were walking in your sleep.
That's very kind of him.
Very-
All right, he picked her
up.
Very
He picked it up for her and
gentlemanly,
everything.
Like, I saw your nipples.
Yep.
I'm going to sleep now.
Yep.
Please go.
And then the
upstairs.
next scene, she's laying in bed with her husband like
Yeah,
nothing happened.
Like nothing happened. And then like they wake up to him. Was that when he was screaming? Is that when it attacked him? Or I forget what they wake up to. Or was it when Florence went downstairs and
Florence
found the
gets
body of Daniel
the
before
body,
they buried him?
Yeah.
Yeah, in
I think
the
so.
wine cellar. or
And that just
whatever.
happened like boom, boom, boom.
Mhm.
I mean, the beats were very quick.
Yeah.
But like
It was-
something I expected from this movie that I would put in my remake of Legend of Hell House is 2 people gotta fuck and one of them's gotta slit the other one's throat while fuck. And it's gotta happen in this movie because that's what would have happened.
Somebody's been
in
watching
the,
American Horror
Oh,
Story
it
over
would
here.
be like fucked up. Like, oh my god,
There's
your boner wouldn't know what to do.
there's a lot
It's
of
just like,
I'm dying, but I still want you.
Jesus Christ.
Well, she comes after poor old Roddy McDowall again, like the following night, I think, right? It's the next
Yeah.
night.
yeah.
It's a. Well,
He's like, "Have you been drinking?" No, but it sounds like an
Yeah,
idea.
but I'd like to drink you.
Yeah.
No, it was
none of
the,
your business, motherfucker. Is that what she said?
No.
I can't remember.
Have you been drinking? Well, that's not your business.
What do you think, honey?
and she made some kind of reference. He's like, "Well, your husband would be coming," and she's like, "No, you should be," or something like that. Something
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Only you got that
No.
I was
linguistic
like,
in
Oh,
this
come
movie.
on. No, you come on.
No, he's sleeping like he always does at night. It's like, God damn, bitch.
So the house works on her. She's got some type of repressed sexuality that the house
It's apparently
is
leaking
exploiting,
out of her
right?
face.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or just like affects her. Because, right, we're going with the scientist idea that
The
the energy could be what is influencing her brain
Right,
yeah.
chemicals.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's influencing her psychology.
There has
somehow,
just been
right?
so much fucking sex and lust in this
So
building
much
that you're
bestiality.
just like, God damn.
You mentioned that.
Where's
too,
that
right?
black cat?
Bestiality.
Bestiality, yes. So much
Sodomy.
bestiality in this house.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
affecting
Florence
people.
almost gets, violated by a cat.
Indeed. There's the
The black
bestiality.
who may or may not be Daniel Blasco, but you can't
Yeah,
tell.
we don't know
Cat
what the
rape.
fuck that
Well,
cat thing's about.
All right, so if it goes after her for her repressed sexuality, right? She's an unfulfilled woman.
I'm not going with that. They don't say anything in the movie to suggest she's sexually repressed.
She's married to that guy.
No, she just said. No, she just said.
And he's a tool, so
He's a tool. He's not a tool. He's just British. That's what they all sound like.
Oh, you mean Charles Dance Sr.? This guy looks like?
Dr. Barrett?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the house goes after Florence in that she wants to see something of psychic phenomena, so she contacts the ghost. The house doesn't do anything to Fisher because he's all shut off to it, and the house affects Dr. Barrett in... It just seems to
He's
make him
attacked.
like... Yeah, he
It's
gets physically attacked, I suppose, right?
does.
But he also
He just
seems...
blames everything on Florence just
Yeah.
because he.
But maybe
he
that's part of his
thinks
personality.
That's what I don't
He gets
get about this movie, right? They
frustrated and,
think
More paranoid, more angry.
he
Yeah.
thinks it's
No.
hokey, but at the same time, like you said, he believes in all that. But
He believes in everything else but
yeah, that
ghosts
doesn't make
doing
fucking
it.
sense.
I'm
Bend a
curious...
spoon with your mind, sure, but ghost doesn't make any fucking sense.
no such
I
thing.
don't believe that.
Well, his
Now
plan...
light that candle with your mind.
Yeah. Leave a sample, please. Of the
Leave a sample in the jar. Leave a sample in the jar. Thank you.
and it does.
Thank you.
But his plan, okay, so maybe this is what I don't entirely understand about this movie, but he's been promised £100,000 if he will prove the existence of the afterlife, and his plan is to bring in a machine called the Reverser, which is going to
Giant Ghostbuster
Polar,
trap.
it's
it's
gonna
gonna reverse the polarity of the negative vibes.
That's like every comic book I've
basically.
ever fucking read in my life. It's reversing polarities of
Richard
whatever you're
Matheson
talking about.
also wrote some episodes of Star Trek. I'm just
I
throwing
bet
that out there.
I created reversing. I created reversing polarity. God damn it!
It'd be great if this movie was like, if we eject the warp drive, the
Yeah.
ghosts will leave.
So it's this weird injection of like science into the supernatural, maybe for the first time in movies. I don't know.
Modern day, I guess.
Sure. In which it manifests
mixing
in a
of
giant
modern
machine.
day.
Yeah, we're gonna use a
Yeah.
machine
Technology,
against ghost
yeah.
energy.
Machine. It's a big block, gray block. Machines now in gray.
I will have to say, what this movie would impress me the most is that they went more sciencey, on his part, where he had all the meters set up, he had infrared cameras set up.
Yeah,
He did.
It for being 1970 something.
73.
Yeah.
Yeah, the infrared sensor camera starts going off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
They just didn't
suppose,
really
again,
show a lot
the
of the use
Exorcist
of it.
would have
Not a
used this
lot.
more that same year, right? The idea
Mhm.
that we're going to use medical science to combat, demon possession or
Mhm.
whatever. So,
But then have to go the old way of calling it
right, yeah.
An old priest
like,
and a young
get an
priest.
Italian.
But what was the plan there then? How do you prove
Yeah,
the
how do you-
existence of something
if you get rid of
if you
it?
get rid of it?
Yeah, it's a little like.
He
Does the
doesn't want to
book go
prove it.
like that? I don't know.
Yes.
He has his recordings, I guess.
I
Richard
suppose.
Matheson forgot his plot. Like, what's
Yeah.
he doing? I don't know.
Well, at some point it
Scientist
becomes
man.
for the characters. It's like it's a matter of life and death, right? Florence is being attacked and is probably not going to survive, according to Fisher.
I guess
who's
so,
like,
right?
You
He
have
just-
to get out of here because your life is actually in
Or
jeopardy.
maybe he already has proof with the ectoplasm. I don't know.
I don't think he got the sample though.
Either that or
Right, didn't it stop?
Yeah.
She goes, oh!
If I was making the spoof of this movie,
Which
if
is
you look
this close
inside
to being
the
this movie.
if you looked inside the microscope at the ectoplasm, it'd say "boo" in the. Eyepiece. That's my Wayne's Brother remake of.
either
Yes.
the way I think of it is if he's
That was
he's not trying to get rid of the ghost per se. He's getting rid of the energy that he thinks that's
he doesn't think
making
there's
the stuff
ghosts.
happen.
No,
Yeah, he doesn't believe it. He would
He
go
thinks it's
back to
energy.
Dooch and be like, "There's
Yeah.
no ghost.
Yeah.
It's all energy, man."
I
Yeah.
proved it because I got rid of it.
So is the idea? Would he tell them that there is
No,
life
there is.
after death?
He,
No,
he would
it's
say that
all
there
energy.
isn't. It
It's
was all
residual-
energy. Residual energy.
Residual like body.
Electromagnetic. What do they call it?
Radiation.
Radiation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So yeah, they turn the machine on, let it hum for a few minutes as they walk outside because it's, I'm sure, radiation.
Because they're all just hanging outside going, I'm gonna have a smoke.
That's why I always think about those kind
It's
of
not
things.
haunted
It's
out here, is
so
it?
these
damn
waves are
foggy.
just like bouncing off the walls, or
Get
like
rid of
it's
it, man.
going outside. It's going through the walls, man. You're still exposed, being that close to the fucking.
Wow, you sound like
It's
you're railing against the
positive.
man right now. It's
Outta
like,
here.
you're still exposed, man. Maybe you didn't even know.
I say maybe Ghostbusters 2 did get that shit from this, man. That's basically they're turning on the
It
Jackie Wilson, like, you know,
a big trap, sucking
turning
it
into
all
a
in.
positive.
Yeah. But poor Florence, she does not. I don't think she makes it even that far. Or she's kind of, sort of possessed or something, right? She's trying to
little bit. She
destroy
gets
the
sacked
Because
machine.
after she had sex, she was possessed by dude or
Yeah, I could feel him inside me.
That was a good scene. I like that. As you're talking as the guy, but then you're just like, no, he's there.
Right. She's
Yeah.
like fighting.
It's like she fought him off a little bit to where
Yeah.
she can bring herself up to her level.
And she makes it into the chapel where she is killed by falling
Cross.
Jesus.
a change from the novel, because in the novel it was a satanic chapel and the Jesus statue had a raging hard-on and fell on her and raped her. I'm telling you.
Wonderful.
They cut all this out from the movie.
I don't even know how they show that.
Things you can do in a book that you can't do in movies.
And raped her.
Yeah.
What?
Example
Well, it's
number one.
windy and
But
the
his
cross
hands are-
Scrappy
keeps
in
on moving up and downwards.
are-
Yeah, what's he
It
gonna do
fucks
with
your
that?
guy.
What's he gonna do with the hard on with his
crazy.
hands?
I was hoping the hard on landed and like impaled her in the face or something.
Dude, that was
She's
like,
dead.
And they show up. It's like going through her skull,
Right,
through
and
the
it's just
back.
moving a little bit. Just,
I'm glad they didn't do that. I think involving.
In the movie, she just gets crushed to death.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that-
PG.
all right, we
That
can see the
works.
hard on, okay? It could still be there.
Come on, dudes. Jesus.
And then Dr.
Break nothing
Lionel,
nowhere.
he also doesn't make it. He gets, what did happen to him? Dr. Lionel.
His machine blew
They
up in
didn't-
his
well,
face. They didn't show him
But
get
they didn't
crushed.
show him
though.
go into the church unless that's a deleted scene. They didn't show him go into the chapel.
Well, he
has machine
cleans the house. They go back in. He's like,
It's clean. It's all clean.
it's all clear. And then he goes and he's like, I need to check my instruments. I didn't have time to yesterday.
Which is when we know that there's more to this movie.
Sure. And then
That
it's
was
like,
the
oh.
moment.
It was. You're just like,
oh.
All right. So he goes and gets his clipboard and he's checking his instruments and then.
I don't accept this. I don't accept this.
It's not possible. I don't accept this. And he just starts yelling at his machines and they start blowing up and he gets in his face.
Yeah, he gets
and-
glass in his face and stuff.
Well, yeah, because we were trying to figure out, like, how did he get, because he's found in the chapel dead.
Yeah,
With
and
a
he-
fucking
Chandelier,
chandelier on
crushed
him.
on him. Yeah.
But the...
What?
It's
I
like the
like how
fifth
they-
time he's tried to kill someone with a chandelier.
Yeah,
He's like,
it
I'm going to
finally
get
worked.
you one of these times.
Yeah.
How many of these things are you know, how
Why
many
are
do you have
there
left?
50 chandeliers?
Maybe we should take these all down. Yeah.
Right. That's the first thing you do. If you ever go to investigate a haunted house, take all the chandeliers
Dude,
down.
Yeah.
empty all the
Eliminate-
furniture.
Yeah.
Make it a fucking empty house.
Eliminate the
You
possibilities.
know what? Don't
right off
even
the
go
bat.
inside. Burn the house. If it's that fucking haunted, where like 16 people died after all this Satan's like, let's burn it. Let's just fucking
Let's
come
not
on.
take any chances.
like,
No
Nope.
reason to go inside there.
You don't live after you die. All right.
What the hell are you gonna do?
Yeah. And the true, well, I guess what I was going to say, the cool scene or the cool moment in that, by not knowing where he is, when the wife's like, Lionel, you can hear him calling. to
In
her.
here.
Yeah.
And she follows it and then finds out that he's dead. That was kind of creepy.
Yeah, that's
It's
a
like,
nice
you know
little-
he's dead.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's
When the
gone.
thing blows up in his face, it's like he's gone.
He's gone.
It would be awesome if it was like fucking a cat or like I don't know, something even more crazy. Like he should have been done something fucking like what?
Jesus with a hard on he has a problem with. Finding him fucking the cat. Good.
I'm
That's fine.
just saying.
That's fine.
He tore that pussy apart.
I'm just saying something else that represented some like insane like oh my god it's so satanic or like,
Right? Just fucking a black cat.
no.
Well,
Maybe
imagine
something
if
else.
they would have done that at this time
Oh.
in 1970. Like if they came
Banned.
out before, yeah,
Banned.
yeah.
Oh,
If Rob
dude.
Zombie was
came out
directing,
before
yeah,
Exorcist.
if Rob Zombie was directing, it probably would have happened.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like maybe they pulled their punches by going PG. Like if it would have been this R-rated, like just crazy obscenity, more people may remember it now. I mean, I'm guessing you say the Legend of Hell House and people are, huh, what?
Mhm.
Yeah, Exorcist. Oh yeah, The Exorcist.
Or they're just like, what, Hill House? Like haunting? What?
Yeah.
Because it's not memorable. They'll mix it up with the 4 other movies that are similar titles.
Hell House, Hill House.
Yeah.
Hill House again.
Hauntings and whatnot.
Well, the resolution of this movie also is one of those things that I was never really, it's kind of like, oh, that's what's going on.
Oh, it's a mystery.
Where Roddy McDowall ends up shaming the ghost.
Best reasons ever. Why is he killing people? Why is he haunting everybody?
Belasco himself. Ernesto Belasco.
He was short.
He was short.
That's literally the case, folks.
That's it.
Well, he's been crushing people's legs. I'm like, what the fuck?
I know.
That's so
it's
stupid.
like, here's the dot, and here's the other one he's trying to connect it to way on the other side of the room. It's like, it's a bit far for me.
But he
Wait a
is psychic,
second.
so that's, I guess.
Oh, yeah, he's psychic. All right.
It does kind of, in the movie, it's like, oh, psychics can just, they know stuff when you need
Psychic
But it's
detective.
it's never something that the audience could put together.
Right.
Ever at all.
Well,
and that's always something they're just like, now they're just telling me.
I'm
just
only
making this
psychic.
shit up.
I'm
They are.
only
They're just
psychic
like-
when the clues are placed in front of me. Then I psychically put them together.
Yes. But that's where it falls apart, because I don't like
dude.
where they're just like, where it becomes something where it's like, it feels like they are making it up. It's like, oh, what? Like, it was definitely designed for the audience not to be able to know where it's going at all. And it's just like, it feels like I'm being left out of that process. It's like, oh, now you're going to tell me the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
For the
All right.
shock ending.
And to find the guy in there in a
Belasco
room.
is
It's like
perfectly
in his spirit
preserved.
bomb
perfectly
shelter.
preserved.
Yeah.
The spirit bomb shelter.
Which, I mean, if he was preserved, he should have, crumpled as soon as they opened
Yeah.
the doors.
Right, yeah.
And they didn't explain how he preserved himself. That was
Nope.
just a non-factor.
And it's,
These walls are lined
He
with
kept
lead.
himself, lined with lead, because he predicted they could use electromagnetic
He knew what was going to
polarity
happen
to
years
fucking.
before it did.
see, he also was a psychic.
Well, he was a spiritualist or whatever, right? That's
Yeah,
what
so he's
people-
tapped
No.
into that shit. I don't know.
Yeah,
He
you
knew
know,
to line the
ley
thing with
lines and what metals and what design. Because I've heard that before. That sometimes what makes a house haunted is the actual architecture. The
Ghostbusters
you can
again.
you can trap
Your
spirits.
girlfriend lives in the corner penthouse. A spook
Well,
center.
supposedly corners is where ghosts get trapped.
Yeah,
They get trapped in
that's-
your corners.
We took a
It's a
a
very,
haunted tour of Tinker Swiss in Rockford, and in the living room of Tinker Swiss is where they used to host funerals. And if you look at the corners of the rooms, they're curved. It's
That
to
way they
allow
can't
the
get
spirits
trapped.
to get up.
I never knew
and
this.
go
yeah,
up.
dude, that's a cool old
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a cool, neato little
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
You're making a horror movie. That's a nice little old classy. If
And-
you want to make the Witch of Haunted movies,
And
the
the-
corners, they'll get trapped in
And
there.
another spirit thing that they have theories about is how in houses, if you have an upper attic area, you have a room in the upper attic area, and the wall, the ceilings are
Pointed.
peaked out.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That spirits can't escape that way. That's why most of your attics are more haunted than anything else.
Interesting.
Yeah, it kind of goes with that. I remember H.P. Lovecraft did all that stuff
Yep.
about the non-Euclidean geometry, some kind of
Euclidean.
some kind of angles that when you totaled together the I guess the angle that they didn't add up correctly. It was more or less than
Yes.
100.
Math is indeed haunting.
Yeah.
That's why they say what's that building in Chicago that's got the slanted
the Sears Tower.
no,
Is
not
that
the
it?
Sears
Flatiron.
Tower. Is
Wait,
it the
oh.
Hancock? Is it Hancock?
Slanted?
Yeah, it's got. If
Oh,
you're watching a Bears game, you see that building.
Is it the red one?
No, it
Or
looks
cut
like
in
it's a
half and
glass.
also
Yeah,
slanted? Yeah,
Yeah.
I know the
Is that
building
the
you're
one
talking
from
about.
Adventures in Babysitter City?
but
Is that the
But-
one they're sliding down?
but there's
Maybe
been
it's slanted.
plenty of hauntings there, and also to where people just jump out those side windows.
Sure. So corners.
They
Something's been
invested horribly. The ghost of financial investment chases you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Corners are bad. Okay. Good idea.
Yeah.
You guys,
Yep.
well, not for you necessarily, for ghosts.
Well,
I'm
I
trapped
don't
in the corner.
I don't want to be stuck with a ghost.
In the corner. You just don't stand in the
You
corner.
just don't stand in the corner.
Yeah.
Is that why Frankenstein's in the corner? He's
There
just
you
like
go.
hanging over there.
He's guarding
Hey,
the
hey,
corner.
come back here. Get over here. Unless you stand by the corner, the ghost can't haunt you.
Yeah.
I walked away.
So it's a little of an underwhelming ending.
He's
to
short
the
and he
movie.
cut his legs off.
Cut his
Yeah.
legs off and
Because
wore
he's known as
prosthetics
the
to be
roaring
taller.
giant, right? The
Yeah.
roaring giant.
6'5".
Yeah.
Yeah. And apparently, like, so that was the thing, right? He oversaw these
Horrible.
orgies and always hung
Oversaw
out in
orgies.
The,
That's what I do.
Because his mom was a whore.
I'm never a part of them, but I oversee
I'm going
them.
to oversee this on the internet.
Here's my card. Overseer of orgies. Here you go.
Oversee the orgies.
And
I'm very good at it.
I love how Travis is like ghost shaming. That's what I was.
Yeah, ghost
It's
shaming.
ghost shaming.
It works. Oh, big deal. Oh, you can survive after.
and when we do an investigation, let's say we're not getting anything, you know,
You shame ghosts.
we shame
That's what
ghosts.
That's what Venkman
You
did.
made a good
We-
point though about how it's the legend that gives them the power, and yeah, you mentioned something
Right,
about
it's
it.
the very idea
idea
that
that-
gives. If you can take away the myth, or if you can like just make it bullshit, then
Right.
it's not going to have.
I
any
don't
effect.
believe in you.
Because
Things like that.
on one
You
of our
got a little
investigations,
I believe
there
in
was a
Easter
little
Bunny.
girl that kept seeing stuff and kept getting touched in her room. And when I was in the room, you know, we weren't getting anything, and all of a sudden, you know, I'm start yelling at her. I'm like, "What are you like? You know, why can't you touch me? Do you just like little girls?" And I'm like, "What are you, a pedophile?" And all of a sudden, something slams on a dresser in the room. So
Ghost shaming.
ghost shaming works.
Oh,
That's not how it was.
I never thought of it like that. I guess you're right. We'll go
I'm
somewhere else.
leaving.
Got nothing better to do, huh? Hang around here, hanging out, fucking stacking plates and books. Fucking
You're
boring.
right. No librarian would stack books like this.
You're right. Right.
Listen.
Like the
Do you smell something?
mass migration of
The sponges, yeah.
Right,
The sponges migrated about a foot and a half.
Yeah, just man.
Was that the?
Yeah, he was fucking short. That's
Yeah, he
it.
was short.
He was
that's
a
right.
short. That was the Legend of Hell Houses. Is how
Yeah,
short
he had
was.
Napoleon complex, and so
Napoleon,
he
yep.
decided to have
And so,
bestiality orgies.
And as a way to like
Well,
shake
I mean, you
hands
know,
with
you gotta-
science and spirituality, they're like, I guess both of them are right.
Yeah.
Like
He had
it
one
wa-
part, she had the other.
which
I
I
had
still
the
don't know
third.
how he had his part. Like the
Because he put them together.
the manifestation or the shit that happened is what allowed
What are we
the
talking about? Fisher?
the scientist.
Oh,
So how
okay.
how he got it right is like what
There
the
is energy.
was the
fed
energy.
off of the
Yeah.
And
fed off
Velasco
of the
was using
mythology, and she was
energy.
using the ghosty like spiritual like
right.
because what somehow he was I don't get
He
it.
was using. Well, he was the puppet master. There
Yeah.
was
How?
one haunting. It was Belasco the whole time,
Oh,
masquerading.
that's
as
another dumb fucking
other,
thing, dude.
a ghost or whatever in the.
Where you
in the
wouldn't
house.
know unless somebody stood there and told it to you.
Right.
Well, because they said like somehow he's a mad genius. He masked together. That was another good idea. I
Is
guess.
one
But
haunting masking is multiple.
Yeah, they could have like I don't know made that a little bit more of a point in the movie. The fact that like he's supposed because you only deal with Daniel. It's stupid. They talk about all these ghosts, how awesome he is collecting the most evil people in the world and like collecting them all in this one place. That way, you're sure to die, right? Because there's like fucking 1,000 evil ghosts in this thing.
Yeah, because you
So-
got all the energy
Yeah.
in there.
Well, they
But
go
it's-
into it going like, so this place is haunted by Belasco, right? No. I think it's Daniel. It could be somebody else. It could be the cat. Could be something else. Then in the end, it actually turns out that it was Belasco.
Let's go. Pretending a ghost pretended to be other. It's fucking so dumb. I go. No, I'm Jennifer. I'm a whore.
Well, to be fair, I haven't heard this solution before or since, I guess, right? In the movie. So it is somewhat, like unique.
I guess.
Well,
It still
they
makes
say-
sense to
Unique
me.
is not good.
They do say like demonic spirits will pretend to be like little girls or little kids to try to trick you into allowing them into your life and stuff like that.
Sure.
And
I've
then
seen those movies.
They will display a
they will
form
take
that
over
is-
your body after that.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. The Captain.
I
Howdy
just
scenario.
don't get how. I'm like, I don't know what this guy can like. I'll preserve my body and then project my fucking ghost
Right,
into
like,
the
how does
house.
he,
Like, what the fuck is?
There was no explanation as to like why his ghost is still hanging around. Like, it doesn't
It's
necessarily.
a force of will, I think, right?
Is that
it's
it?
him
Like,
living
it seems
on
like
after
it's
his
like
death.
I've decided that I will live on after my
Yeah.
death,
what
so
the
I
fuck? You're
shall.
that
So he set up
satanic.
a situation which he could just, because that's what I'm guessing, right? I mean, they find him just sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
guessing that he just willed himself out of his body. Like his body just kind of sat there and
He was
it became
mid-drink.
a husk. And he's actually wandering around the house
Yeah.
for all time. Maybe that's his end goal.
Yeah.
So I'm going to escape my mortal coil.
Right. What I
and
couldn't be in
exist
life, I
as a
will
spirit.
be in death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legends and
Trapped
He was
in this
able-
house forever. And every once in a while, somebody will come in and I can use them like a battery.
right
Yeah.
to just build more
because
and
you take
more.
their energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. We cracked it.
I
Legend
guess
of
so, right?
House.
The mythology.
It was a very
is
thin
what
shell to
sustains
crack.
his- But it was still really fun. You know, whatever. We'll do what happens.
All right, so we don't have mailbag this week. If you want to
Aw,
be featured,
what the fuck,
Where's
people?
Igor?
What the
Where's
hell,
Igor?
man?
I haven't seen him in a while.
Because mailbag's sitting here, guys.
oh,
He
there you
has
go.
a note on it.
So if you want to get a hold of us and be featured in the next week's mailbag, you want to write to us on Facebook.com/Saturday Night Freak Show. You can email us. We actually have one of those. Remember, email addresses for Saturday Night Freak Show at yahoo.com.
Can we tweet?
Or you can tweet at us.
Tweet,
at,
tweet.
at
We
Sat Freak
tweet.
Show.
Yeah, tweet at us.
Or, yeah, Sat Freak Show. Tweet at us.
Where's
Boom,
all our
you can find
peeps?
us
Where's
all over
G
the
Money?
place.
Where's Nick? Oh, hi Nick.
No, I'm over
How
here.
you doing? Where's
I
who else we
Facebook.
Dom.
Dom Cree.
Facebook more.
Cree.
Dom Cree. Where's everybody at? Nobody's seen this
I'll
movie?
retweet, but usually my comments come on Facebook. So
There you go. So that means we're going to deal with wrap-ups, which is our final thoughts on The Legend of Hell House. And we're also going to find out at the end of this block what we're watching next week. So starting us off is Sean.
The Legend of Hell House. There's ups and downs of this movie. It's pretty good. Like some of it's actually, like we talked about, shot really well. I think they they kind of waited for like special moments in order to do that. Everything else is just kind of, kind of straight. I liked I don't know. I wasn't bored technically. Like it's interesting, but I think I've seen like this again. I've seen other versions of this story before I ever saw The Legend of Hell House. Like I've heard of this movie before, but I've seen The Hauntings and The Hauntings of Hill Houses and all the other stuff before this. Those group of people that go into a house and try and figure it out. I think it's been done probably better. I think this movie, especially this movie, as much as I enjoy seeing Roddy McDowall monologue for felt like 20 minutes,
Or have a spastic fit.
he really does. Like
That was awesome.
Like at the end of this movie,
fuck,
like
we didn't talk about that.
we didn't, but like I appreciate that. Like he just like freaks out at the end of this movie, which is it's fun to watch. But I mean, really, he's short. Like that's it. Like it falls apart right at that. Like it loses me when they just start telling you stuff about the movie or the motivations of these quote unquote ghosts at the end of this. It's got some good stuff in it though. Like this sexy possessed wife, like you were talking about earlier. But I don't know that I'd recommend it. I don't know. It seems.
Oh, it hurts.
It does. I don't see. I don't know. I'm caught on this one. It feels like one of those movies you hear about for the longest time, and eventually you wind up seeing it at some point. I think if you are one of those people that has been like, oh yeah, The Legend of Hell House, I've always heard of that movie, then you should probably watch it just to see it. But to the regular movie going audience who hasn't heard of this movie, I don't necessarily recommend it to
But
you.
this is the Saturday Night Freak Show.
But this is a Saturday Night Freak Show, and this is probably right up their alley. So I mean,
There you
and those
go.
people out there are the ones who have been like, I've heard of this movie. I wonder what
This
it's
is
like.
a Saturday Night Freak Show movie.
And for
hopefully
those people,
if you're listening to this, you've seen this movie. Otherwise, we just told you the whole thing.
but yeah, I mean, especially for this audience, I mean, you have to have heard of this movie, and if you haven't seen it, you probably should. For those people, I recommend it because I did enjoy this movie. It was enjoyable.
I love the way we completely turned you around.
Yeah, I know,
Well,
right?
no, I did.
We talked to him.
You fucking coward.
We held a
rapist
knife
cat
to
in
his
this
ass and said, "What are you doing? What are you thinking, boy?"
I mean, I've always considered myself a veteran of the horror genre. I've been through every fucking thing that is considered a classic, and I just hate ghost movies. I think they're so fucking boring. But this one actually did catch me by surprise. Like as soon as as soon as I could get into like probably 15 minutes in, that's when I was just like, oh fuck, this is like the one that came after The Haunting, right? Like that's how I figure that this movie lays in the history of like how important a haunted house, or how I'm like, oh, that's why this movie's important, is because after The Haunting, like if you want to go from like The Cat and the Canary to The Old Dark House to The Haunting to
Uninvited.
was that
The Uninvited was in the 40s, I think.
The Uninvited?
Yeah. It's like Rebecca with ghosts.
Huh.
Did they redo that one?
No.
I feel like they did some.
That's
version
Crimson
of that.
Peak. No. I'm sorry. That's the newest one in the lineup.
God, yeah,
So-
I don't like haunted house movie.
I mean, I think what fails about this movie is that it's from 73, but it feels like it was from
65?
like 68, or like it just feels like it's too much in the 60s. Like we were getting over the goth era of movies, right? I mean, that's why you said this was released the same year as Exorcist, right? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, fuck, just the film stock is it's one of those like Clash of the Titans to like any other movie that came out in 1980. We're like, what the fuck? This looks like it was made in 1978 or 4 or whatever, it's 3 or and movies that. So, but I still think that some of the things they touch on are pretty classic. I could have used a little bit more. There was just a little too much. Like this should have been a Twilight Zone episode. Like I could have used a 45-minute to an hour. I think 95 minutes. I mean, it's only 95 fucking minutes. And I think you can cut like 10 minutes out of this movie.
Most of it, Roddy.
I like everything Roddy McDowall did. I thought, even though, his like weird seizure scene was like really goofy. Like I just don't get it.
Overacting.
But then he like followed it by a nice like crying scene of like remembering one of his friends that died. It's just
they
like
caught that tear right as the camera was
dude,
going around.
both tears, fucking both tears out of both eyes. That's how beautiful that shot actually was, dude. Like he starts crying, it goes around to both tears, dude. And I think what's a shame is that was like the only time the character got to relive.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would have felt more from that character if he would have relived that past experience a little bit more instead of always going back to Florence, just talking to her room.
Right.
And then like a door opening, like, all right, see you later.
We know more why he closed himself off for this whole experience until the end, if he kind of reminisced on that past experience more. That would have been nice.
Yeah, so they just missed some opportunities in the storytelling. I mean, it might be in the book, but the fucking author wrote the goddamn
Apparently it was a
screenplay,
lot
so
more
I
in
don't
the
know.
book.
I mean, obviously...
Oh, shit,
Jesus
the
rape.
scene.
Oh, yeah,
I was
what's
gonna
the scene?
tell you about. I'm sorry.
Wait, hold on. Let Travis
Well,
finish.
the only
Okay.
thing was that at some point they find out, I can't remember how, but I think they're locked in there or something to that effect, right?
Yeah, because they can leave at whatever time they want. Just
Yeah.
like, yeah, we'll go outside.
That's why I'm like, are they locked in? But whatever, they find out that Deutsch has died and there was no contract.
Oh.
So they're not getting paid.
Damn.
Oh.
And I'm like, shouldn't that have been in the movie? At the end, like that's the final.
Well, how would they find that out? That would have been a lot.
Yeah, maybe.
I like
Had to
how
go back.
Telephone call. Somebody
movies in
shows
these
up.
days,
Yeah,
like
a messenger shows up.
Yeah,
and
at the
says,
door. Knock, knock, knock. Oh,
Right,
there's
as
people
they're
dead in here.
Oh.
You're not getting any money,
And there
and
was
you're
no
going to jail.
contract.
Telegram.
Yeah.
Funny, he knew that.
You
know.
killed these people. Now you're gone.
So, I mean, but all in all, I would totally recommend it. Because it's fun. I mean, some parts can be a little dragging. I mean, I really do wish like this movie took place in one night and we could have done like, it's like if we planned like 3 or 4 like readings and this movie should have taken place over like one night to move the
They
action
set up different
along.
experiments of different things.
Yeah,
to
and they
go
were
on.
trying because I mean, fuck, when was the first date they threw up there? December 13th, and this ends on Christmas Eve.
No, they're there for a week, right?
Yeah.
They entered the house on December 20th.
Was it the
That was
20th?
the 20th was the first day they were in the house, a Monday.
Huh.
They're
So
supposed
yeah,
to be
even
there
4
until the
days
next
in
Monday.
Hell House was too long. Like
Yeah.
more people should have died quicker, or like I don't know, they could have condensed the story a little bit. But still, overall, I still think it's pretty good, except for the end. But that's the way I feel about every ghost movie. Every ghost movie, dude. I love fucking Lady in White.
When you
Until
learn
the
their
goddamn
motivations.
end. Until we get to the this is why it's haunted. It's like, fuck, this sucks. I don't ever want to know why it's haunted. Ever. I want the ring.
That's The Shining.
I want the we buried the girl, but why is she coming out on the TV?
But The Shining
Yeah.
is the one. As I was thinking about this today, The Shining never says that there's a demon haunting.
Well, the
fucking place.
book, no.
The
If
Shining,
you read the
well, yeah,
book,
I
you
guess,
know. It's just fucking Kubrick's ass. Fucking
Yeah,
like,
but that's what
tell
made it-
him.
Yeah, but that's what made it like this enduring thing, right? It's
You
just
love
haunted
that.
by evil.
I
You
guess
never
so.
actually find out who it is.
I don't like vagueness. I don't think that's artistic. Vagueness is not artistic. But anyway, I recommend Legend
Too
of
much
Hell
vagueness
House.
is not artistic.
It's
Some
just-
vagueness is artistic.
Yeah, you know, especially it's like I don't know. We're gonna start talking about The Shining after this.
I
So
don't wanna
okay,
do that.
moving on.
Hey, me being big time, Bing, me being, big time into the paranormal. I'm constantly listening to different podcasts, watching TV shows. I've joined, a paranormal group, going into haunted houses. Haunted houses is my thing,
I don't like the ones
So-
with clowns.
So I caught this movie a few years ago. I accidentally bought it with a group of
It found its way into the stack. I don't know how.
Good.
Or maybe somebody put it there.
We were hosting a Halloween party, and I picked up a DVD that played a bunch of old different movies that we'd just run on the TV when people are hanging out. And it had like The House on Haunted Hill and 13 Ghosts and stuff like that, and then it had this one, and this one had always seemed to catch my attention. And that was even before we started having stuff happen in our own house and stuff like that. But the movie does move slow at parts. I will give it that. It probably could have gone about 20 minutes shorter. I had a little bit more action and maybe not so bad of a cat beating, I guess, that went on in the movie.
The cat's reaching under the door.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun, though.
Yeah, with its little
Again, it's
painted
always
claws.
Like this side of the comedic.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
almost there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it, and I've probably seen it 4 or 5 times now, and I definitely would recommend this movie.
Well, then that's me. A word really quick. John Huff, I think his name is, the director.
Yeah.
Did a Hammer movie before this, Twins of Evil, and then went on to do Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. Anyone?
Awesome name.
He did
But Tarantino loves that movie.
the Disney Ghost Story. Remember when Disney used to do that? The Watcher in the Woods.
Oh, I've never seen that.
And I want to say maybe capped off his career with Howling 4.
Ooh.
What a way to go.
Isn't that
Yeah.
the one that's like,
The original Nightmare, the remake of the book.
yeah, that's the one in the cat? No?
No,
Cat-
that's
no?
Howling 5.
5?
Yeah, I know. It's sad that
It's a
we know
lot of
this,
howlings.
but yeah. I don't know. It's this is one of those movies that like I've always kind of been on the fence about. I think because of the ending. It's that last 10 minutes and it's the reveal. And maybe it's just the way that's done. It's maybe a little over theatrical with Roddy McDowall. I don't know. Like,
Well-
is it a good performance or is he going
No,
a little broad on
liked
some
it.
of that stuff?
He's always been that way, right?
Yeah,
I
but I
mean,
guess that's
yeah.
why you get Roddy McDowall, right?
Yeah.
But that also goes to the structure of the movie. It's like we get a lot front loaded where he is basically the star of this, even though Pamela Franklin, who was in another ghost movie that I really like and you should check out called The Innocents. When she was a little kid, it's like The Turn of the Screw.
Huh.
And she was a little kid then, and she grows up, and then she's in this. But the structure of it is like, if he's the lead character, they kind of keep him in the background throughout most of the the first half of the running time, right? Because he's shut off and not experiencing anything and just going to survive, which makes his character kind of interesting because he's the guy who, I don't trust anybody here. And I'm not, I want to get my money and get the fuck out. But then in the second half, and as Florence, becomes more mentally unstable and then eventually dies, his character actually, rises to the foreground, and we get the background on what happened the first time through in the house. So it's like that structure kind of worked for me. I enjoyed that level of reveal. I think that's why when Travis, you were saying that it seemed like there was a lot of story to this movie, it was because they were always kind of, doling it out, over the running time. So it keeps you from getting really bored because there's more stuff to find out until they run the machine. And then right then it's like, okay, well, this is an ending.
Right. Should we all go outside?
Yeah. And then it's like, well, now we got to start back up again like you do in your ghost film. And then it becomes, I don't know, a little.
See, I don't think there's too much story. I just think they stretch the story out too much. I don't think there's too much story. They just
details.
They just keep stretching it out. Like we had Florence in her room talking to Daniel like 3 or 4, like every night, right? Like 3 or 4 times. It was just too much repetition. Yeah. Where I needed chandeliers falling on people. Like I needed that.
Well, some of that I'm willing to forgive the movie because, a lot of times, I mean, I know I'm guilty of this myself where I sit there and I'm like, well, this old movie, if it would have dropped more chandeliers or if the editing would have been, if you would have cut it there, if you would have taken this scene out or rearranged this, it would play better to me today. But at the time, I guess we have to remember it's like, if you're looking at its contemporaries. Yeah, I mean, they didn't have, we've become accustomed to things blowing up in every damn, scene and dynamic cameras that are unattached by gravity to anything and can swoop around.
But as a horror fan, I'd like to think that I've been able to look back into history and watch all these movies with a,
well, I mean,
I can agree with you, but because that's true. I can't fucking watch silent films. That's
I love Hammer movies, but I'll tell you that some of those run slower than this.
Yeah, dude.
And I think this also represents kind of the last of, or the end. I mean, of the British Gothic horror movie. Maybe that started with. I mean, if we want to say started with Curse of Frankenstein, the Hammer of Frankenstein, maybe the color era of all this stuff, Witchfinder General, Blood on Satan's Claw, all these kind of, even the non-Hammer stuff,
all
right?
The Amicus stuff.
This is the end of it, right? Because after this, The Exorcist basically comes along.
Then
and
America
says,
starts kicking ass again.
You've got to do, now we're Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and we're Last House on the Left, and, and Halloween and The Omen, I guess, is in our future. So, and I think also, we were talking about before, it's like it still has that classic setup to the haunted house movie with, even the black cat, we were talking about. It's got the fucking black cats, candelabras, women in billowy white evening wear, long staircases, all that shit, big fireplaces.
But at the same time, that 70s satanic panic. It made, not as hardcore as a lot of these other ones. Like it's you said, PG. Omen or blah, 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 blah. Like, what was the Devil's Reign? The one with Shatner? Is that what is it?
Yeah. And Richard Matheson, I want to say, I think he adapted a Hammer movie called The Devil Rides Out, which had to be like 70, 71. Dennis Wheatley's novel. Because I think Hammer's last movie was To the Devil a Daughter, and that was also based on a Dennis Wheatley novel. So, we kind of got into that occult. It went more from like classic ghosts to, the occult, I guess. And then that was the last gasp, and then it went into, murder without motive and the gore.
Murder Without Motive.
What else was that?
Has that ever been a title for something?
What?
2016 Saturday Night Freak Show.
What was it? Murder Without
Motive.
Murder Without
That's
Motive.
a Lifetime movie. Never mind.
Nothing to find out.
Murder Without Motive.
Damn, I had another point too, and I totally lost what it is, and I'll think about it once this recording is over and be like, shit. But I'm gonna recommend The Legend of Hell House because I think that again, it's the pulp version of The Haunting of Hill House. What did I say? Legend of Hell House, Haunting of Hill House. I think I don't know if I'd say this is like one of the classic haunted house movies, but maybe, you know, if I was going to branch out from like, you know, your top 5 to your top 10, this might be on there, you know,
Oh,
because
yeah.
you got like The Innocents. I really like The Changeling. And what was The Others? Would we put that in there? Like that's
No,
a kind
not
of a
me.
gothic
New
thing.
Others?
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
It is gothic and
It's not
it's a
good.
ghost story. It's not
but it's
good.
you know
but-
people wandering around with
I
candelabras
mean,
and
it is,
you know,
yeah, but that doesn't necessarily a good movie to
and
make.
I
but-
suppose maybe Crimson Peak
I
would
was
be.
to put like
Oof.
Ghost Story.
I know. It's a gothic
Lady in
romance. It's
White.
not a
I mean,
horror. It's not the problem, I think, listener, if you haven't seen this movie, that we have to warn you against. It's a horror movie, but it's not scary. There's not really a whole lot of jumps. It's not really eerie. It's just, it's a decent, you know, horror story being told, but I think the effect of it, it's more fun to watch now than it is actually effective as a spine-chilling, you know, creep show. But I still think it's worth a watch. I think, you know, the performances are interesting, the story is kind of cool, and you know, aside from, and maybe you'll like the ending, but I thought it kind of took the air out of it. But other than that, I think it's a fun time at the movies, especially, you know, like don't show it, freak show it. Yep.
Don't show it.
On the Rain of
You
Fire
show it.
scale, it's
Oh, shit,
better
no.
than Rain
No.
of Fire. Better than Rain of Fire. It's above
Eliminate
it.
that scale. Get rid of
yeah,
it.
because Rain of Fire's at the bottom all the time.
Rain of
Well,
Fire
you
scale.
just
Well,
don't-
it's better.
Is it better or worse?
Right, it's
than?
like it's 3 dragons better than Rain of Fire. 3 dragons.
A black dragon's better.
So next week, that's Travis's pick, and so we're going to be watching. What are we watching, Travis?
Well, I thought the setting for this movie was a little too classy. I like my hauntings to be in high schools. So we're going to be watching Hello, Mary Lou. It's prom night 2.
Boom! It's about goddamn time.
Yeah.
Hello,
You don't need to see
Mary
part
Lou.
1. Yeah. It's prom night
Goodbye.
2.
All right, so that's next week on the Saturday Night Freak Show, and until then, we're not going to pay the bill, so the basement is going to go dark.